Hi, I'm Stu3D, and I'm aware it's been quite some time since I've actually bothered to record a YouTube video. So why am I doing this one? Well, I am an owner of a iPhone 10, not the 2017 iPhone 10, not the XS or anything. And I am on a contract that allows me to trade my phone in and upgrade in January. Now, the 10S and the 10S Max, their prices were absolutely stupid. Now, if these were the only phones on the market this year, I wouldn't be having this thought process, dilemma, whatever you want to call it. However, the iPhone XR throws a bit of a spanner in the works. The XR, for me, would be actually quite a compelling upgrade. It's an upgrade in some respects, but a downgrade in other respects. It's a bit of an odd one, really. On the one hand, on the iPhone 10, I have a OLED screen, two cameras, the 2x zoom, and on the 10R, okay, I lose a camera, but the base camera, in theory, should be better with its smart HDR, larger pixels, so better in low light. And, okay, I'd be having a massive downgrade on the screen. So, I'm not that fussed about speed in terms of app loading or anything like that, because the iPhone 10 is plenty fast enough for what I want it for. So, why am I thinking about getting the 10R? Well, if we look at the side-by-side comparison of the lot, I threw the 10S Max in just for comparison's sake. Basically, I missed the landscape mode, which some of the apps turned around. So I had the old 6S Plus, and if you used to turn the phone around, things like Safari would have a little tab view. Mail would have your messages on one side and the actual content of your message on the other side. The text messages are the same, and a lot of apps have an expanded view when you held them in landscape mode. The 10 lacks that because it's based on the iPhone, standard iPhone 6. The 8 is just a taller version of that. However, the 10R and the 10S Max both support landscape mode. From what I'm reading, the 10R supports it 2x resolution, and the 10S Max supports it 3x resolution. But both phones can support landscape mode, and I do miss that on some of the apps, like things like Twitter. It was sometimes just laying there, having the phone in landscape. It was quite nice to do it. I didn't realise how much I would miss it until I've lost it. Well, the 10R gains that, but that's not the only reason I'm considering upgrading. It's okay, slightly bigger screen. However, the big one, and the one for me, would be if I scroll all the way down here. Talk time, 21 hours on my phone, 25 hours on the 10R. Internet use, 12 hours on my phone, up to 15 hours on the 10R. And for me, battery life is a big thing. Now, my phone, the battery is currently being reported, if I fire it up now, as only having 92% of its capacity left. It's 9 months old, but yeah, maximum capacity, 92%. And obviously, if 92% of the 12 hours internet use is about 11 hours and 4 minutes, I worked it out to be. So, I'm already 4 hours down on the 10R. Now, for me, the thinking is I use my phone quite a lot. Quite often I'll have big, long conversations with Scazius over the phone when I'm at work. And sometimes I'll come home and the phone will be asking me to put it in low power mode. And I'm thinking, well, I've not been talking for 25 bloody hours. I know the signal where I am's not the greatest, but yeah, I've not been talking for 25 hours. Christ. Or 21 hours, I should say, on my one. But I've not been talking anywhere near that long, but it's not lasting. The battery is draining rather rapidly. Now, I remember getting the 6S Plus all those years ago, and the battery lasted an eternity when I first got it. I deliberately tried to drain it by running power-heavy things like TomTom and stuff on there. Now, obviously, the 10R is based on the old Plus series, and they're basing it, obviously, longer than the iPhone 8 Plus. Now that thing already had the best battery life out of them all anyway, so for this to go even further, the battery life makes this quite a compelling upgrade. Now, with regards to the screen, I've never looked at an iPhone and gone, oh, that needs more pixels. I think I'm not buying into the Apple Retina hype and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, unless you're going to shove the phone right up to your face for like VR or something stupid like that, the amount of pixels is just fine for using it at arm's length. You may look slightly blurrier on the 10R over the 10, but it's not going to be enough to put me off it. The one thing downgrading the screen what worries me a little bit is the daylight readability, because obviously the iPhone 10 has got, well, almost infinite contrast, hasn't it, with the deep blacks, because obviously you can turn the pixels off, and obviously the bright whites. However, they both do go to the same 625, obviously, is it Candela, is it? Or the same 625 rating. Now, I have had times where I've been in the van using this as a sat-nav, and for whatever reason, it's got too warm and the screen's dimmed itself. Now, even in its dim state, I can still read that screen pretty well when the sun's shining on it. But that would be the only sacrificing daylight readability. Am I going to sacrifice a huge amount of daylight readability? That's the only thing that worries me. In terms of pixel resolution, not bothered me. It wouldn't bother me at all. People are complaining, oh, but you can't watch 1080p's on the go, on it, 1080p videos on the go. Well, to be honest with you, on a 6.5 inch, on a 6.1 inch screen, holding it out where you would normally watch a video on your phone, sort of that distance, to be honest with you, just watch it in 720p, job done. It's going to save you bandwidth, to be honest with you. So yeah, this screen is the big one I'm a little bit concerned about, but it's only mainly for the daylight readability. Otherwise, for the battery life, the iPhone XR is a far bigger upgrade for me. Now, on the camera state of things as well, I've got the dual cameras, the 2x zoom. Now, I have to admit, I don't take a huge amount of photos, but when I have, I do quite often use a 2x zoom. That would be something I would miss, but the base camera on the XR is going to be better than the one on the 10. It's got larger pixels. It's got all that smart HDR, which in theory should result in a far better image to begin with. Now, if you've got a better base image, you should be able to then crop into it, no problems at all, to get the subject you're after. Personally, portrait mode, even though the 10R's got it, I've used portrait mode once on this, and that was to take a photo of my cat just to see how it worked. I've never taken a portrait mode photo, and to be honest with you, I don't think I ever will. I'm just not into all of that shit, to be honest with you. So, losing like the extra fancy portrait mode and portrait mode lighting, because I know there's a couple of extra, there you go, the old, what is it, the flipping stage light, you lose all of that. But again, I've never really used it. Obviously, with the video recording, you've now got stereo. That's going to be quite a big upgrade for when you do record video. And obviously, you've got the ability to record HDR videos as well, which might be quite useful because I've got a 4K HDR TV. Now, as long as it supports the same HDR standard as my TV supports, the videos I would be able to record on the XR, even though I'd lack the optical zoom, would in theory be a lot better quality on my TV. But it all depends on what HDR standard Apple decide to implement on the XR. If they go hybrid log gamma, my TV will support it. If they go HDR10, my TV would support it. If they record in HDR10 plus, nope. And if they record in Dolby Vision, well, that's not going to happen either. So yeah, that's my thoughts really. The XR I would get in the 128 in the product red. I do like the look of that product red, and I would actually go out and buy a clear case for it to show it off. I do like the product red. In terms of space and stuff, I've got the 256 gig iPhone 10, and if I look at it now, I've used, bear with me, I've got 256 gig available. Oh no, 256 capacity. I've got available 231 gig. I could actually get away with dropping all the way back to the 64, but I wouldn't because, because of I want to keep it a bit future proof. Now, in terms of the cost, currently, I didn't realise I pay an absolute astronomical amount for this phone. I pay 85 quid a month for this phone because it was the 256 gig one. Skaz is going to blooming comment on this and just call me a complete and utter moron for that, and I agree. If I drop down to the iPhone 10R 128 gig with 20 gig of data, currently I'm getting 40 because I'm on a 30 gig tariff and I get a 10 gig bonus, but I use on average about 6 to 8 gig a month, so I could easily drop back down to the 20 gig tariff and get the 128 gig 10R. If I drop down to the 20 gig tariff, my monthly cost, if I went for a 2-year contract, would drop down to, I believe, 65, 67 a month. I think it's 65 a month, if I recall correctly. In fact, we can have a look at that now. I'm on O2. And they have this new customise your contract thing. So if I go on the old pre-order bit on O2, and we'll get the phone configured how I want it. So I want the product red, and I want that in 128. So if we drop it down to 24 months, you're looking at £65 a month. That's a 20 quid a month saving over what I'm paying now. But because the phone is a lot cheaper than the one I've got now, I would actually be tempted to go all the way down to an 18-month. And I would still be saving 8 quid a month by getting this phone. Now, after 18 months, I will then own the phone and I can trade it in, keep it, do whatever I want. To be honest with you, my decision, I could keep this I could pay another 12 months in January and keep this. But to be honest with you, the battery is already reporting 92% capacity after 9 months. In another 3 months, I don't know what that's going to be. Is that going to be in the 80-odd percent? I'm already noticing the battery isn't lasting me on some days as long as I want it to. So am I going to be in January constantly reaching for the charger like I did with my iPhone 6s Plus after it was 2 years old? The iPhone 6s Plus, I was constantly reaching for the charger, constantly topping it up during the day at work. You know, every time I get in the van to have a drive to the next area, I'd plug it in, top it up for a few minutes. You know, am I going to get to that point with this phone ridiculously quick? Because it does seem like it. I don't know if I've just got a dodgy battery or if I just use it more, because my wife, who's got almost the identical phone to me, hers is still reporting 97%, and we both got our phone on the same day. So I really don't know if it's just because I absolutely hammer the crap out of it all the time. But yeah, in terms of battery life, if it lives up to Apple's claims, the 10R would be worth sacrificing the OLED screen for. Because there's no point in having a fancy screen, but then the battery dies and then you can't use said fancy screen. I'd rather take a slight hit on screen quality and have a phone that'll actually comfortably last me through the day with some room to spare. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I should stick with a 10, or do you think I should trade in January and go for the 10R? I mean, hopefully in the next few days, the first lot of reviewers will come in and they'll do their battery tests. I'll be keeping an eye on is it Everything Apple Pro and I think Super SAF. They tend to line them all up and do battery drain tests. So I'll be keeping an eye on them with eagle eyes. And if they come back and say, yeah, the 10R is a battery monster, then I think that will cement my decision, to be honest with you. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And hopefully I'll get around to doing some more YouTube videos at some point. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.